All right, Chapter 10, Reclaiming Human Nature. If you've been feeling like your ability to focus is just slipping through your fingers lately, well, today's explainer is going to completely restructure how you understand your own mind and your desires. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's dive right in. So, why does focus feel so incredibly hard right now? It's a super common struggle, but we need to make a massive pivot here and completely flip the script on self-blame. Because honestly, your brain hasn't suddenly forgotten how to pay attention. The core issue? It is absolutely not a lack of willpower. Your attention actually lives inside this complex, systemic environment that is literally engineered from the ground up to interrupt it, reroute it, and, monetize it. So what feels like a personal failing on your part is really just a completely natural reaction to an ecosystem built to farm your time. Think about it like walking through the super busy lanes of an inner city market. If every single shopkeeper called your name out loud at the exact same time, pulling at your sleeves, shoving free samples in your hands, you would never say your inability to walk in a straight line was a failure of your character, right? You just call it a crazy, crowded environment. Well, the exact same thing is true for your digital life. Fragmentation is a property of a crowded environment, not a personal flaw. There are three main forces splintering our attention in this crowded digital market. First, constant triggers. Those are the notifications and pings that pull you off course before you even realize what's happening. Second, cheap rewards. These actively train your mind to prefer a fast, immediate payoff over a deeper, meaningful one. And third, context switching, which basically forces your mind to carry unfinished fragments of tasks everywhere you go. Once you actually see these mechanics at play, you can finally stop moralizing your distraction. So, beyond the obvious symptoms and the endless notifications, what is actually stealing our attention? To really reclaim our human nature, we have to peel back the layers and unmask what makes a digital ping so utterly irresistible to the human brain in the first place. There's this really powerful quote from the source material that hits the nail on the head. The important thing is not that attention is gone. It is that attention is being constantly reallocated. See, our minds are built to notice rewards quickly. It's ancient survival machinery. For most of human history, spotting a reward fast, like food or shelter or safety, literally kept you alive. Today, that exact same survival instinct is just being hijacked by tiny digital payoffs. Your attention isn't vanishing at all. It's just being ruthlessly reallocated by machines feeding an ancient instinct. And this brings us to a foundational concept. Humans aren't just reward seekers. We are fundamentally need seekers. Think about when you're thirsty. You don't just have an abstract desire for liquid. You desperately want that uncomfortable, agonizing state of thirst to end. Distraction works exactly the same way. When we give in to distraction, it's very often just a desperate attempt to end a feeling of discomfort, uncertainty, or emptiness. Let's dig into the deeper needs beneath that distraction. When you check your phone for, the 50th time today, you aren't just blindly chasing content. You're actually looking for a fast, cheap answer to some highly exposed human needs. You might be seeking relief from tension, or maybe reassurance that you matter, a simulated sense of progress, or even just a quick hit of belonging. That immediate reward of a notification works so insanely well because it arrives exactly where your human need is most exposed. It's a lot like eating a sugary biscuit right before dinner. It doesn't actually nourish you, right? But it closes that psychological loop and gives you immediate relief. Or worse, it's like drinking oversweetened tea. At first, it tastes great. But over time, that extreme sweetness becomes your new normal, and plain healthy tea suddenly just tastes dull. Constantly relying on instant digital rewards recalibrates your brain's baseline. It makes silence and slowness feel unbearably thin, and it leaves you basically starving for actual depth. So the true conflict we're facing today isn't really discipline versus temptation. Actually, it's immediate relief versus durable satisfaction. Instant rewards are fast, they reduce tension right now, and they simulate meaning. But durable rewards, those are slow, they're quiet, they require patience, but they actually build your strength and deepen meaning over time. If we only ever cope with discomfort by using instant rewards, we completely lose the ability to sit with uncertainty and invest in what truly matters. Which brings up a really pivotal question you should ask yourself. Which rewards are actually feeding me, and which ones are only keeping me temporarily occupied? This is the moment we pivot from just understanding the problem to actually mastering it. Because once we bring reward into the picture, we aren't just talking about attention anymore. We're evaluating what kind of life your attention is being trained to build. To build a better life, we have to completely redefine focus. A lot of us think of focus like a spotlight, something we just need to forcefully aim at a target. But focus is actually a trust relationship between your mind and a task. Your attention is only going to stay put if your mind genuinely believes three things: that the task actually matters, that you can make progress on it, and that staying with it isn't going to waste your life. If that trust isn't there, your attention is going to drift. Think about rebuilding your inner life like building a house. First off, focus acts as the walls. Without the walls of focus, all of your attention, your energy, your potential, it just endlessly leaks away into the environment. The walls are absolutely crucial because they protect your attention from being scattered to the wind by every single passing notification. Now let's add the next architectural layer: purpose. Purpose is the floor plan that gives the whole house its shape. Purpose organizes your trade-offs and your sacrifices. It basically tells your attention what deserves to be kept inside those walls. A lot of people are endlessly busy but feel completely directionless. That's because activity does not equal purpose. You don't need more motion in your life. You need a clearer, stronger reason for that motion. And finally, we have connection. Connection is the people who can actually live in that house with you. Because if you have focus and you have purpose but absolutely no genuine human connection, well, you just have an empty building. It's not a home. Connection is what gives your focused, purposeful attention a truly human place to land. And these three elements, they are completely reliant on one another. But we really have to be careful about what we're calling connection these days. Our digital tools are heavily optimized for simulated connection. It's fast, it's super low friction, and it briefly reduces loneliness, like a quick like or a short reply. But real connection is pretty much the exact opposite of optimized interaction. It's slower. It requires waiting, vulnerability, and doing the hard work of repair after misunderstanding. But here's the thing: real connection structurally reduces loneliness. It builds a lasting bond instead of just sending a fleeting signal. Just think about the timeline of a typical working week for a second. In the morning, you're slammed with constant messages. By midday, it's just this barrage of forwarded clips and social updates. And by the evening, total mental exhaustion. On the surface, sure, it looks like a time management problem, but underneath, it is a complete failure of attention governance. When your mind feels forced to react to every single ping as if it's socially urgent, your mind basically becomes a public square with no doors. And when everything is public, absolutely nothing can become deep. This points us toward a massive emotional shift. We are trying to move from being primarily a consumer of fragments to becoming an active participant in meaning. This is really about refusing to let your days be organized only around what is easiest to consume. Because consumption just asks, what can I get right now? But contribution asks, what am I building, strengthening, or offering? Making that shift from consuming fragments to contributing meaning is exactly how you reclaim your humanity. Ultimately, what we're talking about here is one coherent system: focus, purpose, and connection. These aren't three separate, isolated goals you just check off a list. They are one deeply intertwined inner and outer life. And you don't regain them through some heroic, agonizing display of discipline. You regain them through consistent, reliable patterns. Rebuilding this system is really just about making your attention available again to the things that are genuinely worthy of it. So I'll leave you with this. Are you just managing distraction, or are you actually building a life that can hold meaning? Reclaiming our attention isn't about becoming numb or totally withdrawing from the modern world. It's about becoming clear. Clear enough to spot those cheap rewards and empowered enough to return to the world entirely on your own terms. Thanks for joining me for this explainer on Chapter 10. I really hope this helps you go out and build a life full of deep, durable meaning.